How's it going, guys? This is Enzo Fantasy. We're back with another episode. Mindful GM over here. What we're going to talk about in this episode is your weekly injury roundup, starts and sits, who you can pick up on the waiver wire as well, and tonight's game. We got the Washington Commanders in Green Bay against the Packers. Will that defense be another shutdown defense against a mobile quarterback? We will see tonight. And will the Washington offense as well pop off? We will see about that. That's coming later at around 5:15 if you're on that Arizona time, 6:15 if you're on that Mountain Standard Time. All right, well, let's get into it. Question of the day for you guys is what was the most shocking thing you saw in week one? For me, it was probably seeing that spectacular performance by Emeka Ibuka, those 2 touchdowns, a lot of targets. And the saddest one for me is probably going to be Cooper Kupp. 2 targets, 15 yards, total of 2 fantasy points. Really, really surprised on how much he was utilized. And, he's kind of following what he did in the last few games with the Rams. Not a lot of points, not highly considered in the target share. So it was kind of sad to see, but it might be a turnaround week for him. We'll find out more as the season progresses what they will do with him. All right, guys, we're back with Zen Zone Fantasy. We have our injury roundup, so this is going to start off our episode. We had a lot of injuries happen within the past week, a lot of new news. I like doing my videos around a Thursday because we really get to see, who's practicing, who could possibly play, who is a full go at practice that wasn't a full go before in week one. So let's start that off with George Kittle. Looks like they put him on IR. I do have him in one of my leagues as a tight end, so very upset about that. He's going to be out. They say 2 to 5 weeks. Hamstrings, they can be those muscle tissue type things. They can be very dangerous. So I think they're looking at this as keeping him for the long haul, not hey, we need him back right now. And they did get that win over Seattle. He did look good before the injury with that target share really up. So just keep an eye out for tight end streamers if you do have George Kittle on your lineup. We're looking at Bretton Strange, Hunter Henry. I do like those two. If you're looking for somebody tonight as well, Zach Ertz. He did get a touchdown reception in their last game. He is somebody they find in the end zone pretty often. Going back even to last season, his target share in the red zone was very up. I don't think Deebo Samuel and Terry McLaurin will cut into that. It seems like they do have a good relationship. So if you're looking at Zach Ertz for a streaming tight end, I think he's a go, as well as Brenton Strange and Hunter Henry. Like I said, those guys look good in the week one, and I think they're just going to keep getting better. The next one, Xavier Worthy, he did practice today, so that is a good sign for you guys. Week two, if he faces the Eagles, we'll see what happens. Their defense is ranked pretty good against the wide receivers, so we'll see what happens if he's a go or not. But he did practice today, so that's a good thing. Brock Bowers, he told us right after the game, yeah, he tweaked something, but we'll just monitor him. I think so far he said he's a go. So just, keep an eye on the news, check, the waiver wires just in case he does decide to make a late round exit or a late game exit as well. You never know. Sometimes those fantasy tight ends or fantasy things that come up can be very detrimental where you're at 10 o'clock, game's about to start, you just get the news Brock Bowers is sitting. So just keep an eye out on the news, guys. Make sure you guys are up to date with Brock Bowers if you do have him in your lineups, that he's a go for week two. He told us he's a go, so, like I said, open ears. Brock Purdy, that's the biggest one that just came out. They were looking at his toe and his shoulder. Really more concerned, Kyle Shanahan said, about that toe. I think toes big thing for a quarterback. So just keep an eye out for your streaming quarterbacks. If you had Brock Purdy, he is out 2 to 5 weeks, they expect. So that's not too good, but I think they're going to, they're doing good and doing their diligence and making sure he's a go for when he does come back. That's what they did with George Kittle, just putting him on IR. So it's very early in the season. I think, they'll be able to hold the fort down without those two people, with Christian McCaffrey, um, Ricky Pearsall starting off hot in the week one opening. I think they'll be able to hold down the fort. Mac Jones will be starting for him. If that's somebody you need to pick up in the waivers, go ahead, pick him up. He's available. Another quarterback I would like to stream or pick up due to Brock Purdy's injury is Michael Penix. Really showed out for his really, so to say, debut in his season opener with the Atlanta Falcons. And Danny Dimes, he did drop a lot of dimes last week, so I was very impressed, very surprised actually, as well as the rest of the world seemed like they were very surprised. So we'll see what he can do, but he is somebody you could stream. Be careful because they are playing the Denver Broncos. So like I said, Mac Jones, he's a good option. Michael Penix is another good option. If you have to, I would say probably Danny Dimes is my last option, just because he is playing the stout Denver defense. And other injuries that we have is Chris Godwin. He did practice today, so limited practice. He is practicing. He could be a go for week 2. I'm going to say probably not, just due to that injury that happened. I think they're going to do limited snaps, limited reps, and limited time on the field. When he does come back, they're going to build him up to where he could be that stout wide receiver 2 or even 1. Now, it will come into case if he does play. Emeka Ibuka's target share may go down. Does play that same position on the field, so don't worry yet. I think we still have a couple weeks until we do see Chris Godwin back in the lineups. So just keep an eye out for that. Like I said, he did practice today, so that is good news if you did pick him up in your fantasy draft. And so we'll just be watching that closely as well. Back, guys, to Zen Zone Fantasy. This next topic we're going to talk about is your Packers defense that showed out in week 1 against the Detroit Lions. Ben Johnson, I think, was the key in the Lions' success, and it is showing in week 1 against the Packers defense. 4 sacks against Jared Goff, 9 QB hits on Goff as well. It's a total of 13 QB disruptions. So they are playing tonight against the Washington Commanders. Jane Daniels is a mobile quarterback. So I'm very curious to see how they act and how they react to that type of different style of quarterback and play. I do like for your starters tonight being Jane Daniels, of course, Josh Jacobs, of course, Deebo Samuel. I did not expect him to get 10 targets, but he did get 10 targets compared to Taylor McLaurin's 4 or 5. So very surprised about that. They did utilize him in the rushing attack as well for that one rush of 19 yards and the touchdown. So tonight he could be a fantasy lock. I like to at least see at least 2 to 3 weeks of success in players that I'm very skeptical about before they're a lineup lock for me. So if you guys are still on the fence of Deebo, don't worry. We're barely into week 2 of the season. Wait, see how he does in this second game. He is playing a little bit of a better defense as well. So give him this chance to kind of prove he can make it into your starting lineup. Don't pull the trigger right off the bat. And there is no regret, I feel like, in these first couple weeks, because you're still trying to mix and match who's you're going to start, who you're sitting, who's a good flex option. Deebo Samuel could be in the range of those, and the Packers defense as well could be in the range of those for starting. I believe the Packers defense did earn some respect playing that Lions offense. They held Jamar and David Montgomery over less than 100 yards in rushing attempts and attacks. So be careful for that. We don't know if the dominance of the Packers was a Lions meltdown, but I think it's a bit of both. the front seven is really good on that Packers. Adding Micah Parsons on there, you saw on the other side, Rashawn Gary, 1.5 sacks in his opening season with Micah Parsons. I think that is going to keep going up, and that front seven is going to be something that you can really look at and getting sacks, getting your points from that fantasy defense. It's just those corners and the safeties you got to look out for. They are fresh, they are new. They got rid of Alexander, Jair Alexander. He's now with the Ravens. So just watch on that, but pick them up off the waiver wire. I mean, they're a good pickup. I have them in a couple drafts as well. Uh, I was very excited to see how they played against the Detroit Lions. Very excited to see how they play tonight. That game should be good. And then we're going to talk about somebody as well in tonight's game that is getting a lot of hype around fantasy football. And that's going to be Bill Corey Krosky Merritt. He did have 82 rushing yards, 10 attempts, and a touchdown in last week. That may go up, that may go down. Like I said, this is week 2. We're barely fresh in. I think he will be the leading back coming out after this week. And going into tonight's game, he will be the leading back due to Austin Eckler not getting that many touches and more work so in the passing game. So be careful with that. If you have Eckler or Bill, I think Bill's your safer option. And then Josh Jacobs, of course, running defense. I think Washington's defense is not the best. It is going to be a high scoring game. A lot of offense, a lot of points on the board, similar to what we saw on Sunday Night Football, just constant scoring. So be careful with your defense you play today. But like I said, pick up the Packers defense on waiver wire. Just see what they can do. They will be playing a lot better going into later in the season. We're doing Sidekicks of the week. I've been talking about him earlier already. Bill Krosky Merritt, 10 carries, 82 rushing yards, 1 touchdown. He did play only 23 offensive snaps. Hopefully that will build as the season continues. He was early down focused, but he is a good goal line and early down usage back. For now, a lot of people have been saying he will be the lead back in the upcoming weeks. Just let him get more of that in game rep. That way he can be a better fit for you guys is if you picked him up late in a draft or if you picked him off the fantasy waiver wire. And then we have Hollywood Brown with Rashee Rice out 6 games. We have Xavier Worthy's injury. He's kind of up in the air with if he's going to play this week or not. I think Hollywood Brown is a good target. 16 targets, 10 receptions, 99 yards. With that wide receiver depth really down, Hollywood Brown should be a focus in your waiver wire pickups. He was a sidekick for me of the week as well. Facing a good Chargers defense. They do allow the deep pass a lot, but they are playing the Philadelphia Eagles this week. So if you guys do need to stream a wide receiver, check out Hollywood Brown. He is available in most leagues. I believe I saw it was a 52%. And let me check that for you right now. Let's see here. Yeah, 75%. So he is available in some of those leagues. Check him out. This is on the ESPN Fantasy league that I have. I did put him in as my flex this week due to George Kittle being out, as well as him just showing he can perform still. He's still Hollywood Brown. So please pick him up on your fantasy waiver wires. He will save the day for you if you are down at wide receiver or even out of the flex. Next one, Travis Etienne, the guy that came out of nowhere, had literally a garbage year last year. And now with the trade of Tank Bigsby going to Philadelphia, he is going to be the lead back. He is going to be a workhorse. In his week 1 output, he got 16 carries, 143 rushing yards, plus with the catches. So he is a very versatile back. He could be a flex. He could be an RB2 at most. Be careful, though, with that. I've had my shares of ETN, and I've seen him go up, down, up, down, up, down. But hopefully with his Bigsby trade, he just is on the rise. So we're hoping for that. Tyler Warren, another sidekick. He did perform pretty well. I did draft him in a couple of my leagues. He gave me about 14 points. He had 7 catches for 9 targets, 76 yards. He led Indiana in the target share. So he does look like one of those rookies, like I said, Brock Bowers, Puka Nacua, that could be somebody that you picked up late in rounds and now is your consistent tight end or even starter in those drafts and those weekly lineup locks. Zay Flowers as well. He did play very well. I will give him that. But with the way Baltimore runs their offense, very hard to see the consistency that he put on for this last week. He had 9 targets, 7 catches, 143 yards, and 1 touchdown. He has a high target share, so he is the clear option for Lamar Jackson. But we did see a pass and a catch to DeAndre Hopkins. Didn't see any Mark Andrews. Very scary. If you guys drafted Mark Andrews, start streaming your tight end, because if we're going to have another year like last year where 11 touchdowns and 200 yards, that's hard to produce again. So just be careful with if you drafted Mark Andrews, maybe stream the tight ends, Hunter Henry, Brenton Strange, Zach Ertz. He does play today. So if you guys need streaming tight end and you had Mark Andrews, look at those 3. They are available in most leagues. The next one, we have Keon Coleman. So out of that Sunday night game, we saw a lot of heroes and a lot of sidekicks. Zay Flowers and Keon Coleman are my sidekicks out of that game. He had 11 targets, 8 catches, 112 yards, and that crazy pop ball in the air touchdown catch. So he is possibly the clear option for those deep routes. Khalil Shakir is still holding down in those middle or flat routes for Josh Allen, but he was my sidekick of the week for that game. If you guys like what you're seeing, like what you hear, give me a follow, subscribe, please. It really helps out the channel. And we will tune in next time. I love when you count me out. I love when you count me out. I love when you count me out.